Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to another oddly specific romance recommendation. This is a kind of like series slash continuing thing that I do on my channel where I have very specific topics for romances because maybe that's what you're looking for in your life. This one is actually a couple kind of combined together, and it fits under kind of this category of hidden identity. So whether that is a pen pal where you don't really know who the person is, a spy, someone who's undercover doing something, a just like miscommunication where we don't know who the other person is. So this one is spies, hidden identity, false identity. All these I'm kind of putting under the same thing. And of course, as I do each recommendation, I'll tell you which one that it fits under. Sometimes we are purposely withholding who we are, and sometimes it just comes out. Give me 1 second. So Costco had these 50-ounce like growlers or tumblers of these. I know everyone's been going gaga over like the 40-ounce. Well, I got the 50. I mean, obviously this one isn't as practical because it doesn't like fit in your car, right? Like that's what's nice about the 40-ounce. Sorry that I'm doing a sidetrack, right? Okay. I'm really into making sure that I drink enough water this year. And that's something that I love watching on TikTok is like the different water recipes people do or whatever. And I got this at Costco. It was only $15 for it and it holds 50 ounces, which I like because I can put lots of like ice in it. And kind of like it dilutes the drink out a little bit, you know? Anyway, that was a side note, but my throat was scratchy, so I grabbed it. So let's just dive into this. I got my stack of books all over the place, and this, like I've shared, like these type of recommendation videos are usually a bit quicker. I won't go into as much, or I'm going to try not to go into as much detail with each one as I do in other videos that I do, because this is just supposed to be something you're able to quickly reference, get some ideas. And if you'd like to purchase any of these down below, I don't know if you know this, but in all my recommendation videos, my weekly wrap-ups, I always have my affiliate links list down below. So if you end up getting this off of Amazon, I get a teeny tiny little kickback if you order through there. But mostly it's just for, you know, if you want to add it to your cart, you can just click on it in there and add it to your cart or add it to your wish list and it's right there for you, okay? So here we go. First off, we're going to start with a mafia romance, actually. This one is called Kingdom Come by A. Zavarelli. And this one I need to be a little bit artful about explaining because, you know, you don't know that there's like a hidden identity kind of, like that's the thing. But this one has our hero. He's a single dad. He is pretty high up in the mafia as it is, and he gets a like not completely a nanny, but kind of like a nanny crossed with like a governess type situation for his son. And this heroine is actually mute. Something happened to her throat and she can't speak, so she does use sign language. This involves her actually teaching it to the boy as well, which I really enjoyed because he's a very shy, quiet kid, and being able to speak in sign kind of gives him a lot of power to be able to do that, and I really liked that. But point being, like, our heroine hasn't come into this house with the story that she's told the hero. We'll just say that. But it's very dangerous for her, obviously, because if this dude finds out how she has messed with him, he's gonna be super pissed at her. So there's Kingdom Come. This one, really good. I love A. Zavarelli, actually, so this was really good. This was part of the Underworld Kings kind of series that came out a couple years ago. Really liked that. Then we have another mafia, and of course, oh, I grabbed the wrong one, but that's okay. We can show this pretty one. It's The Spy by Sophie Lark. I, of course, meant to grab the hunky one, but I have 2 copies of these, so there we go. This one, of course, is the lovely, like, illustrated version here. These ones have Lena's stuff in here. So pretty. It's so pretty. Anyway, so this one, it's even called The Spy. This is book 4 in the Kingmaker Chronicles, and you do have to read these in order. You cannot read The Spy as a standalone, but I think it's the most like obvious example, and if I hadn't included The Spy in recommendations for spies and hidden identity, you guys would be like, Jen, what the hell are you doing? But our character, who is the spy, we know that they exist, that there is a spy in Kingmakers in the book before. In book 3, we learn that there is someone who is the spy, but we don't know who they are or what they're doing at Kingmakers or who they're trying to get revenge on or what's going on. And through this book, we learn that, and we find out what they've been spying on and who they've been spying on and what they're trying to do. And while the bully is my favorite one in this series, which actually is where like the idea of the spy gets introduced. I was like, we don't get introduced to the spy because you don't find out who it is till here. But I just think this whole series is so well put together. I was just messaging with my friend Rachel the other day because she just finished The Bully, and the way that Sophie wrote this series, the way that it was all laid out was just done so well. Like, it's so impressive and I just love it so much. So definitely recommend that. Then we have one that goes in kind of a different way. So this one is The Wolf and the Wildflower by Stacy Reed. And so this is her most recent release. And the way that this one is a hidden identity is that the hero is actually like the only one who figures out her true identity. And that is because our heroine, she has been raised as a man, and she has been propagating this lie because her mother actually starts it. Her mother lies to her father and says she's a man or she's a boy, and she's raised that way her whole life. And now she is into psychology. Her and her father both are, and they get asked to consult on a case of James Winters, who was lost in the wilderness of the Yukon for a decade, and now he's finally made it back to society, and he's a duke now, but he's not very sociable. They don't know whether he's crazy. He needs to prove that he's sane, or else his family may have the title taken away from them. And basically the first time he gets a look at Jules, who everyone believes is a man, he knows that she's a woman. And the way that Stacy has that be telegraphed to James, I thought was brilliant. And I know this one, I wouldn't call this like a divisive book, but people definitely have like differing opinions on if this book worked or not, because it does have a very bonkers plot. It also is like based on some true events. Like there were women who were raised as men or who chose to raise as men. And not necessarily because of the reasons of like feeling like they were a man, you know, and wishing that their gender was male, but because they had to hide who they were to get where they wanted to be in society or to have a job that they wanted to have. Like Jules would never be able to, you know, have the career that she's working towards if she was a woman. Like she wouldn't be able to go to college in the same way. She wouldn't be able to do those things. And so as she's falling in love with James, and these two are having these like secret meetings where they both get to be who they really are. Like he gets to be the more animalistic self that he's been for these last years. And she gets to be a woman for really the first time. It would be a lot for her to be with James. She would be the one giving up a lot to be with him, because she'd be giving up freedom basically, and not just in the way where we're like, oh, I'm giving up my freedom. Like, no, she would be, because she has so much freedom living as a man that she wouldn't. So anyway, talked about that one a little more than I meant. Then I want to throw up Not a Hero by Cherise Sinclair. This is a book that I like to bring up when I do. It is not the best written novel out there, but this series is very addicting to me. I love the audiobooks. I reread them around Christmas time and I'm still obsessed, even though I know that they can be tough for some people. They don't click with them the way that I did. But this has a beautiful like found family in this small town in Alaska that is called Rescue, Alaska. And our heroine is actually a researcher I think she's in Chicago, and one of the people that she's doing research for has kind of stumbled into some areas that people don't want them into. And so in the beginning of this book, that man gets attacked and there is an assassin coming after her, and she's able to escape, but she knows that she can't go any place she would normally go. Like, she has to run for it. And so she changes her identity and she's like, I need to find the smallest, most off the map place and start a new life there, or like be on the run. And she ends up in Rescue, Alaska under an assumed name, and under the watchful eye of a very suspicious, reluctant small town sheriff there. And this is their romance. And we get introduced to the town of Rescue and his adopted brothers, and we discover if the town of Rescue even deserves to still be around because of other reasons in the story. So we get into those. But we definitely have someone who's hiding her identity in this one. And we have a very, again, suspicious hero who is going to sniff her out. And will he like what he discovers when he does? We shall see. We shall see. All right. Then we have Love in the Afternoon by Lisa Kleypas. This one is a pen pal romance with some deceit. Sorry, see, we got having a drink. So this one is book 5 in the Hathaway series. This series, you can read it out of order. There are friends of mine who have. If you don't want to start at the beginning, I highly recommend you do. It begins with Mine Till Midnight, which is one of my favorite Lisa Kleypas that I've read. However, you could just jump into this one. And this one is between Beatrice and Captain Christopher Felon. And so what happens is that Beatrice has a friend who has been writing, who had been writing with Christopher, kind of, sort of. And she'd been sharing these letters with Beatrice. And actually she wanted to stop writing to him, but Beatrice was kind of like enjoying writing this soldier letters. And she asked her friend if she could continue to do that under her friend's name. And so her friend is like, yeah, if you want to, I don't want to know why you want to write to this boring soldier. And so she does. And she loves writing letters to him. And then there comes a point where there's a very serious event that Christopher barely survives. A lot of his men and fellow soldiers do not. And he's very broken. But he's also now considered a hero because he saved some people. But he definitely doesn't want this hero worship that people have for him. He just wants to go home to his family and kind of forget this. And so he does have some PTSD and some struggles. But now, here's the trouble. He's coming home and he wants to go and find this woman who'd been writing him these letters, and he thinks it's someone else. And now this woman who had been letting Beatrice write the letters knows that Christopher is a hero, and now she's interested in him again. And what is Beatrice to do? What is she to do? So this is one of, like I said, one of the more unique hidden identity ones that we're doing in the pen pal way. Yay. Okay. Then we have A Season for Spies, and Spy Season here I have by Golden Angel. So this is actually a full series that is called Deception and Discipline, but nobody is being a spy quite like Evie is, which that's the heroine of this one. But this is another series that you do have to start at the beginning because Evie starts being a spy all the way at the beginning. Now, you could read the little tiny novella that is the starter to this one. Golden Angel put this out a month or so before this one came out. So this is book 3.5. And you could, if you wanted to, skip to this and then read this. And it explains how Captain Anthony Brown is almost gets captured by French soldiers. And Evie actually helps him prevent abduction. But she's kind of undercover, right? So her uncle is a spy master for England. And he does not want his niece to be doing what she's doing. But she's like, there are some places that women can just get into easier than men. And they aren't paid attention to, like a maid or, someone working at a brothel. They're not as paid attention to as a man would be going undercover. And so she's kind of taken it upon herself to help find the traitor who was responsible for an assassination attempt that's going on. And so she has been, the whole series is kind of bucking against her uncle and her cousin who are trying to stop her from doing this, but she's the one who's gotten them the closest. So by the time we get to these books, we are ready for Evie to have her day. And her relationship with Captain Anthony Brown and hers is just it basically becomes well, you're going to do it anyway. So let me be on your side and let me help you so you don't die. That's the vibe we're working with. That's what we're working with. And I'm here for it. Okay. I'm here for it. I love it. So that's what's happening in this one. So she hides her identity from him mostly in this one, but then there are espionage and stuff that she's doing throughout the series. We have one more historical to mention. This one is very well known, and this one is honestly one of the most bonkers plots, and it's one of those that, like, you have no idea how this can work out. You're like, how can this couple, how can it be good? And that is The Earl Takes All by Lorraine Heath. You could read this one as a standalone. This one is part of a trilogy, The Halliards of Havisham. And in this, we have these twins, Edward and, what's the brother's name? Edward and Albert. Yeah, Edward and Albert. And Albert is married to Julia. And she's always had kind of an antagonistic, like, relationship with this brother, who they're identical twins, by the way, of course, because this is going to be a hidden identity scenario, right? And Edward has always kind of had a thing for her, but she was with Albert. And so he backed off, and he made himself to be, like, I mean, he was kind of a rake, but he made himself very unlikable to her so that he could help himself keep distance from her. Like, that's what's going on with that. Well, in the, like, start of this, Edward and Albert had went on, like, a safari, and or they went to they went on, like, a jungle safari, and Albert gets killed by a gorilla. And the thing is, Julia is back home, and she's expecting a child, and she has had trouble carrying a pregnancy to term before. So when Albert is dying, he asks Edward to be me. And Edward takes this to mean that he will pretend that Edward is the one who died, who no one would really miss anyway, because he was a troubled bad boy. And Albert has all of this to live for. And so Edward gives up his identity to be Albert and come home and be there for Julia, which is absolute torture, because Julia wants to be with her husband, but Edward knows that if he's with her while pretending to be Albert, he'll have no chance of ever being with her. But he also couldn't be with her because there was a law in this time in England where you couldn't marry your brother's wife, even, like, if he died. And it was kind of meant so that you couldn't, like, you know, kill the brother, take his place, take his wife, take everything from him. Like, that's the reason why I was there, right? And also, he's just falling deeper and deeper in love with her, and you just have this looming presence over you of, when is he going to tell her, or is she going to find out, or what's going to happen? And if y'all haven't read this one, number one, this is a classic. Like, it's not a classic in the classic sense. It's from, like, wow, it's only from 2016. It's only from 2016. But this book is the pinnacle of Lorraine Heath. Like, it's so excellent. Highly recommend. All right, now we have some more contemporaries to go through. So we have Tin Queen by Devney Perry. This one is book 6 in the Clifton Forge. I always forget the name. Clifton Forge series, which is, like, they're a biker gang that's no longer a biker gang, but there still is another biker gang who wants revenge against them for things that have happened in the past. And with this one, we have our heroine, who is a daughter of someone who's been sent to prison by the motorcycle gang that no longer exists. And his daughter gets sent to be a honey trap. She gets sent in to set these guys up and figure out what's going on. And so she targets one of the only remaining single men in the biker gang and goes about making him fall for her so that she can get into his home and be able to find out information she would need to, like, help get her father released from prison. So yeah, this one straight up is, like, it's spying / hidden identity, because she's hiding who she really is. Of course, while they're both falling for each other, because it's a romance novel. Then we have a little by Awakening fun for you. So this is Top Secret by Serena Bone and Elle Kennedy. It's one of their, like, lesser known ones, because, like, it's not in their, like, hockey series, right? So there's Him and Us, and there's also Good Boy and Stay. And then this is just kind of a standalone that just sits out there. And so this one's really interesting. So this one is these two boys in college, and one of them, like, you'll even read, because this one is like a text chat thing. So of course it's gonna be two guys who like don't like each other in real life. And this jock, he finds out that like his girlfriend wants a threesome for her birthday, and so he's reaching out on this hookup app to find someone who's willing to be with the girl. And at the time, like, the one hero, he doesn't think that he's bi. Like, it would be them like sharing his girlfriend or like watching them with his girlfriend. And this person he reaches out to, so Luke and Keaton are the heroes' names. I'm not totally remembering like who's who, so I apologize. It's been a while since I've read this one. But he's like, no, you just be with my girlfriend. Like, this is for her. This is for her. But the more that he's talking with this man to start like planning this, he starts being interested as well when he finds out that this guy, like, he's like, I play for both teams. Do you? And they start being kind of like drawn into this. So then the way that it like continues is that he breaks up with this girlfriend and he still keeps talking with this guy who he was going to plan this threesome for. So yeah, so they both don't know who each other is. So this one is like a, you know, this is like a dual thing. And we have another one of those to do next. But I thought this would be a fun one to include because it's also one that not enough people talk about by her. But I really had fun with this one. This one was good. This was good. So the other one where there was two people who would, that they're messaging back and forth and don't know who each other are, is A Photo Finish by Elsie Silver. So this is book 2 in her Gold Rush Rant series. This is also the one that is about the Eaton's sister. So this is about Violet. This is Cade and Rhett's and Bo's sister. And she's actually a jockey. And so she goes to Gold Rush Ranch to, wait, she's the jockey, right? Yeah. So she's a jockey. We meet her in the first book in this series. And when she gets there, she discovers that the oldest of the two brothers who are like running this ranch, he has seen what she looked like through their like messaging platform, but he had never shared what he looked like because he was never going to be on the app to like share himself. He was just there for women to like, because he's a voyeur and he wanted to like pay women to, you know, get off for him. But he ends up striking up a conversation with this girl for more than just that. And he actually takes a while to talk her into sharing herself. And she's felt like she's fallen in love with him, but he's like, I'm not going to share me. So there's more to this than that. I know I kind of just gave this overview because this book actually starts like a few months after they've stopped talking to each other, because of that like situation. And now he realizes like who she is. And so it's them kind of working through that. This hero has PTSD. He is a former soldier. This also has some, like, he has like anxiety as well. So this has a broken hero working through some stuff. But this one does fit under this for like in the past there was hidden identity between them, and it's showing kind of the aftermath of them both like knowing who the other one is. So we'll go with that. And then the last one I just wanted to throw in, I don't remember this one too clearly, but it came up on the list when I was looking at it. And I believe this whole series has spies and espionage in it, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. And so this is The Dom Who Loved Me by Lexi Blake. And I believe that the woman, she is an assistant to someone who they're investigating. I think that's the thing. And so this is also like an older woman romance, and the hero, he's supposed to get the skinny on this, like find out, and they end up having this crazy sexual attraction. And so he's like, well, I can like date her to use her for that. But when she becomes like curious in his dom tendencies, you know, is he going to use the bedroom and BDSM to get information from her? That would be extremely unethical, but maybe he's gonna do it, I don't know. And this is the, like I said, this is the only one I've read in this series, but I believe like there's spies in many books in the series, so I wanted to bring this up. So there you go. There are some recommendations for spies, hidden identity, false identity, undercover scenarios. I hope you will give these a try. Let me know some of your favorite recs. I actually have some on my TBR from Maggie Cole's series, The Brooks Family Saga. I believe there's a couple of these that have like undercover going into like a gang to try to rescue people and stuff. I think I want to try some of those. So she just got new covers for some of those books, and so I'm a cover whore. We know this. We know this. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support what I do here, I do this full-time booktube creator. I just had my 1 year of doing this full-time. Please make sure you like this video and subscribe. If you'd like to send a super thanks, that helps me out. If you'd like to subscribe to my Patreon to support me monthly, you can do that. Otherwise, yeah, just like this video. Give me a heart for making it through to the end, and I'll see you next time. Bye.